Hello and welcome to the Future of Dogs podcast, a place for the whole dog world to come together and ask the big why and what if questions that will shape the dogs of the future. Join me, Hannah Malloy, dog behaviourist and body language expert, as we chat to some of the world's most groundbreaking professionals intent on enriching and evolving the future for dogs. This series is sponsored by Amplified Behaviour, my online video school where you can find quality dog behaviour and training advice at a fraction of the price, because I believe everyone should be able to afford the knowledge that they need to give their dogs the best life possible. Let's jump in to the next episode. Hey, you're here, and it's so good to have you back for another episode of The Future of Dogs. This episode is The Future of Dog Breeding Part 5, Perfecting Puppies. And our next very special guest is a legend and someone that I will honestly struggle to not fangirl around, because her work makes my heart sing operatic arias. And thankfully, we've had a pint together in the not too distant past, so she knows that I'm on the gentler side of the weirdo dog geek fangirl spectrum. And besides, she's safely sequestered away in the USA now, far away from my doe-eyed reach. A true transatlantic treasure and a super wise woman who has been barking up the right tree decades before anyone else started joining in. It is my pleasure to introduce Suzanne Clothier. Suzanne.
Well, yay.
Hi.
Thanks for having me. Like, it would be better if we were like sitting right next to each other and had a pint or two or seven between us. Yes, exactly.
So true. We can pull one up right now. We can have one. In fact, everybody go to the bar. Let's go. All as one. It's important.
This could derail so fast if we did that. So.
I had the privilege of hearing you teach in the UK recently, Suzanne. And as I've said pretty emphatically, that your work is excellent. I think if I was in Africa, I would call you Auntie Suzanne, because in my book, you deserve like tribal levels of honor and respect from the dog world. And I know that there's going to be people who are listening to this who are like, who? Which is quite shocking. So can I introduce you formally with your full bio?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, go for it. Impress. As one lady once said to me, you should be so impressed by what you know. And I thought, I don't know that that's what you meant to say, but thank you for that very strange compliment. I don't know what she meant, but she was fangirling so hard.
I'm impressed in myself with what I know.
I am. Go ahead and make it sound like I know what I'm doing.
You do, absolutely. Suzanne Clothier has worked with animals professionally since 1977. So sit down, kids, with a background that includes obedience, agility, puppy testing, breeding, search and rescue, conformation, instructing, kennel management, and animal-assisted therapy. She's literally done it all. Her relationship-centered training approach blends science and heart to create humane, effective, and practical solutions for dogs and the people who work with them, whether they're professionals working with dogs or couch-warming companions. And she is super in demand as a speaker at conferences all around the world. She's taught on a broad variety of topics throughout the US and internationally for groups as varied as Wolf Park, the FEMA, that's the Northeast Region Disaster Dog Teams. She's worked with Alaskan Dog Musher Association, that's very cool, Assistance Dogs International, the Association of Pet Dog Trainers, and University of MN's Speak conference too. And she's an innovative trainer. She's always seeking better ways to understand and assess and improve what we do with and for dogs. And Suzanne has published a variety of books and DVDs and online courses and training tools. Her groundbreaking book, Bones Would Rain from the Sky, Deepening Our Relationships with Dogs, is considered a groundbreaking classic in the field. If you haven't got it, get it right now. Guide and service dog organizations around the world have incorporated her relationship-centered training materials and her innovative assessment tools into their programs, as well as implementing her enriched puppy protocol for early puppyhood and development. And that is something we're going to learn so much more about today. Her suite of training programs and assessment tools provide a powerful framework for trainers and organizations. You could grab a hold of the FAT, or the Functional Assessment Tool, which is a welfare assessment that looks at physiological, social, and cognitive dimensions. You could look at her Relationship Assessment Tool, or RAT, which is a handler and dog dynamic tool. It's a rapid assessment plus that ability to track and compare the dog handler dynamic. And her famous Clothier Animal Response Assessment Tool, or CARAT, which is a temperament assessment tool that looks at 6 different categories and 21 dimensions. And she's got this treat and retreat tool, which is super cool. It's treat, retreat, first aid, and it really helps the socially fearful and shy and awkward dog to build in their confidence. And coming soon, she's also got her new reactivity repair kit, which is a comprehensive program for trainers to really understand strategies and solutions to deal with reactivity. She's a long-time breeder of German Shepherds. 11 generations of her dogs have been successful in multiple dog sports, SAR, therapy work, and as guide dog breeding stock too. She lives on a working farm in upstate New York with her husband, John Rice, and their considerable animal family. Suzanne, it's so lovely to have you here.
It sounds like, that should belong to some old woman. So, all the pharmaceutical ads on TV, they're like, if you're 65 or older, and we used to just laugh. And now we look at each other like, that's us. We're saying, oh, wait, what did they say? Should we take
the phone?
Yeah, get the phone. I need that number. What was it? I forgot already. Yeah, it's just in my head, I'm still a lunatic 16-year-old or a 36-year-old. I seem to have stalled out, but yeah.
I think we stay there. Let's stay mid-30s. I don't see why not.
I kind of like that. If my body just would agree with that plan.
I think we should have a chat with it.
That is the only realistic part of my entire being is my body, which is you are almost 67. Calm the hell down.
And yet you have the most beautiful heart, Suzanne, and you teach, like, I've had, as I say, the privilege to watch you teach recently, and you can write your own bio and blow your own horn, but honestly, I love the way that you can take really complicated science and you make it funny and you make it relatable. Like, you have an analogy for every situation, I think, and what you teach is deep. It's really good science, and it's welfare and has welfare at the heart of all of it. Does it feel weird when you look back at your bio like that and you see all the things that you've done and keep doing? You don't stop working,
No, and I like once I've created something, I'm like, right, did that, and moving on now. So I'm already ahead, going someplace else in my head.
Mm-hmm.
But there is that concept that looking back, like a retrospective, artists and often will get that, like, here's all the paintings from, this period. So I created a PowerPoint slide for the upcoming Aggression in Dogs conference. And on just one slide, I just put the different logos for the different programs. And when I saw them all together on one slide, I literally was like, huh. And I showed my husband, like, look at that. And he's like, yes, you did all that. I'm like, I know, but like, weird. Like, it was very strange, because I'm like, what am I focused on now? What am I thinking about? What's floating my boat? What article did I just read that makes me think, well, that explains a lot. And then I go diving down insane rabbit holes all by my lonesome. They are rebuilding our road. They've decided to pave 3/4 of a mile of road. We're at the very end of it. Normally it's quite quiet, but as you can hear, my dogs believe that they should be monitoring the construction crew. So that may come and go.
You know what? I actually can't hear it, so that's fine.
Oh, good. Okay.
I know technology these days just goes, no, not important. I would disagree. I think dogs barking is important, so we should have a chat with our friends at Zoom.
And I always think that people should, like, really, your dog is barking. They're dog people listening.
It's a dog podcast. They're welcome. Mm-hmm.
So it is weird. It was beyond funny to be referred to recently as a legend. I was like, that just means you're old. We're not really sure.
Wise.
We know, but we have no idea why. But it is a great passion of mine is how do I take, because I really love science, but I've been accused of being very woo-woo. My husband, when I met him, he asked people like, well, what is this Clothier stuff? What is she about? And they're like, oh, that's just all guru crap.
Wow.
He's like, well, what does that even mean? They're
Mm-hmm.
like, we can't explain it. So that was 36 years ago, right? And people are like, I don't know what the heck she's talking about. It's like, but it's grounded in science. But there's another part of me that's always right on the edge that is like, yeah, yeah, science hasn't gotten here yet. It's a slow glacier science, right? It's like, come on, you know. Remember when they came out with the study that dogs have individual personalities? I'm like, what?
No way.
What?
Who
What?
who knew?
No. I had all these interchangeable dogs. Some were just boy dogs, some were girl dogs, but they were pretty much the same, just different colors. Of course that's true, right?
Hmm.
So I'm always on the cutting edge of I will wait till science proves this is
Mm.
possible. And it's a great joy among my friends and the folks I've worked with a long time. They're like, oh, Suzanne said that 15 years ago.
Come on.
Like, so you know what the problem with being a pioneer is? No one else is out there on the plains with you.
No.
It's just
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
in a little covered wagon,
Hmm. And people are going, she's
bumping
crazy.
over,
Hmm.
no trail at all, just cutting your own path. And people are like, she's crazy. Exactly.
Uh-huh.
So now you do that long enough, they're like, oh, she's so smart. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
same brain, just okay,
It
whatever.
must feel good though. It's one of those things you're like, I was quite happy being out here on my own. And so now that you're all following, brilliant, but I don't care either way. Like it just.
Yeah, I didn't set off to blaze trails. I was
Mhm.
just like, what is that about? Like, what is that shiny little thought that I want to
Mhm.
carry? I want to carry it back to my nest, but now I have to follow it back to its nest to find out if it has brothers and sisters, and it does. And I'm going to gather them all, and they'll be mine. So I realize I'm starting to sound a little bit like Smog, like it's all mine.
My
But I
thoughts.
may identify with Smog just a wee bit.
Hey, I tell you, it's you and Phoebe Buffet. Like you were not appreciated in your time, and yet also latterly appreciated in your time. It's good.
Fine, because
Everybody
I'm
wants
happy in my
that.
little cave with all
Yeah.
my shiny little thoughts I've collected. My husband can tell. He'll come back in the room. He's like, I see that. What
You're
did
doing
what did
thinking.
you find now? I'm like, did you know lobsters and testosterone? He's like, where did
But
that come from? Like, I was watching that ad and it had lobsters on it, and I started to think about when lobsters fight, how does that work? And is testosterone influencing lobster fights at all? So I just Googled that, and it turns out, well, yes, yes, it is. It's like, who needed to know that from the seafood ad? I'm like, I don't know. It's just where my brain went. So
it's a
you can
beautiful
see
brain.
why, yes,
So
why I'm
beautiful.
best just out there on the prairie by myself, wandering
All
and
right.
wandering.
No, don't be alone, Suzanne. Let us follow you. Let us see what you're up to. It's
Okay,
amazing.
we'll do that.
Can I ask you one of the hardest questions that are based on that short spiel of the way that your amazing mind works that you'll probably ever get asked? So all of our guests answer the question, if you could ask one what if question that could change the future of dogs, what would be your what if question, do you think?
Well, do you want one that's just related to puppies that we're talking about today?
Yeah, we
Or do
could
you
do
want,
that. We could do that. To be
yeah,
honest with
so
you, you go free. You be free, Suzanne. Do you?
I always have been. So
That's it.
even
That's
those who
it.
tried to lasso me are like, just let her go. It's
Yeah.
just not worth the struggle to keep her in captivity. Um, what if we actually saw each dog as the individual that they are, and not try to project on them what we needed them to be, not try to change them, but simply met them as who they are and where they are.
Mm,
Um, I think if we start with that, and it's just my little tagline, right? See the dog. And it's like, for the love of God, if that's all you do, those three words, really, truly, without all the human crap in the way,
mm,
see the dog. And I think it is the same thing that we do for people that we love. I think when the rose-colored glasses come off, and we stop projecting what we need or trying to fill holes in ourselves or trying to fluff up our egos with some other being, then we strip down to the reality of this is who I am, warts and all, but also this is who you are, warts and all. And then we start there. So see the dog. And for puppies, it would be, can we please see them as little individuals who need education, because that's what we're
Mm,
going to talk about today is what are we doing? How are we missing the most critical aspect of puppyhood? I don't know, but I would like to get that changed if I could.
mm,
I think it would change the world of dogs if puppies, like children, got solid educations and
mm.
had healthy attachments and relationships from the get-go.
Come on, so good. So I think for many people I know as a trainer and behaviorist, they will buy a puppy and they go, well, I got a new one. It's new. It's 8 weeks old and I don't want it to break. Like for you, would you say that all puppies are created equal? Such a triggering
Oh
question
God.
for you.
Yeah. It's it is a triggering question. Once upon a time, Dunbar wrote that. I don't know, on some newsletter or on social media or whatever. Anyway, Ian and I have this love-hate relationship where I absolutely drive him mad because I will challenge his generalizations. And he said, all puppies are born as clean slates. They're blank slates. It's up to us to ruin them. And I just lost my mind. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? No, they're not. No, they're not. Have you ever had a litter of puppies? Have you ever had more than one child? Because anyone who's had more than one kid will
Mm,
tell you, oh, they are not. They're born. This one's going to cry all night for 7 months till I want to throw myself off a bridge. This one's the dream child, right? And the same is true for puppies. They do not come in as blank slates at all. Not even close. Not even close. Um, it drives me crazy. Like, so let's start with the fact they are all individuals. They are absolutely, it's just like saying an apple pie is an apple pie is an apple pie. Well, that's just a stupid statement. So I just challenged Ian, can you go down to the NICU? Do you think that the children that are in neonatal ICU cares because they were born clean slates and perfect and their moms just screwed them up on the way out?
mm,
Like, come on. That's just not reality. So they are born with their own individual slates. And there's certainly, they all come with their own shape and size. But, and I would also say when you get them at 8 weeks, I don't know how to tell you this, and this is a shocker to most people, including trainers, by the way, and even veterinary behaviorists. When you get them at 8 weeks, they are roughly the equivalent of a 4-year-old child in terms of development. So
yeah.
imagine if you're like, I just adopted a kid. Nothing's really been done to him except his, nappies have been changed and he's been kept warm and dry. But, we didn't really take him anyplace. He just stayed in his little playpen. We gave him a new toy every day. It's like, he's 4. Like, shouldn't he know, like, about colors and the names of things and how to partially dress himself and
Mhm.
indicate, like, I have to go toilet and nope. So we blow away the most critical part of puppy development because we're like, when I get my puppy, it's like, okay, you do know what happened before you got him sets him up for his whole life, his
Boom.
whole life. But
Mhm.
we think, oh, 7 or 8 weeks, that's when we start, and that's when all the important things go in. It's like, I don't know how to tell you this. The really important stuff has already happened.
Come on.
Already happened.
So huge. So, which is massive. That's a huge mic drop moment. Like we could just end there. That's enough for someone to take away
Thanks
with
for
and be like,
having me.
actually, I need to go and research my right. So for you, obviously you've bred lots of puppies. And you've worked with even more than that. Like how many litters would you say that you've experienced? Like how many dogs would you say that you've have come through your fingers at that age, as it were?
I don't know. I'm not a number counter, mostly because I don't
Mm,
like math, so that helps. I only use math to calculate medical dosages for my dogs. Like I can convert like solutions to percentages and kilograms to pounds, and yeah, I can do that. But otherwise, so 11 generations, and I don't count the first, oh, I don't know, 7, 8 years of breeding because it was just one disaster after another, which really starts to test your mettle
Mm.
when this doesn't work or this dog dies young or this is like that is not what I was intending. So those
Mm.
11 generations are from when I got what I meant, and that has existed unbroken. One dog per generation is what I kept
Wow.
and carried on for 11 years. So it's unbroken down the mom line.
And then you've helped out with loads of others, right? Like, so that you've
Oh
got
God,
involved
yeah.
with
So
like the
people
guide
would
dogs and yeah, go
right.
on.
So I bred Brittany's for about 5 years, and that was wonderful. Had a really great mentor in Brittany's, and then people would pay me to raise litters to come whelp the puppies, and then sometimes they're like, "Could you just raise them till they're 5, 6 weeks old?" Because I had a nice farm and I had a great setup, and I was able to just produce puppies that were happy and confident and coordinated because they got to do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I spent tons of time with them. So everything from Westies and Collies to Deerhound crosses to pointers to, oh God, I'm trying to think. The little Norwich terrible mom literally looked and it's like, I don't know what it is, but it's your problem now. Uh, thanks for, yeah, okay. So whatever that hurt, that's your problem. And really superb moms and mixed breeds and yeah, so then we got into working with the guide schools. So when I got to around 20,000 puppies raised my weight, that was the only place I could calculate it.
Wow.
I knew how many puppies they produced each year.
Mm-hmm.
I just stopped counting. It's like that's a ludicrous amount of
It's a
puppies.
lot. It's huge.
Proven that there's such great value in raising it this way.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe a better way to say, does this approach have value? Almost all the schools I worked with after I worked with them spent exorbitant amounts to redo their kennels
Yep.
to accommodate what the puppies needed doing. In one case, it was close to $7 million. Now,
Wow.
there's some other stuff added, but a lot of it was designed to how do we make the most out of these puppies? How do
Mm-hmm.
we give them the best possible start they can have? So you have to go a ways to convince people that what they're doing is adequate, but it's not maximal. I
Mm-hmm.
remember we had the suits came down right from the subcommittee from the board of the directors, and so they send all these suits down. And I remember telling the employee, just go grab a puppy from litter X, whatever. And she didn't even work in that department, but she runs off. She gets a puppy. The puppy's name was Patricia. I can still see her little yellow lab. And so we have all these little obstacles set up, and Patricia is 7 weeks old at this point. And so she just takes her and she says, "Hey, follow me, let's go." Patricia's like, "I'm on it." She's right behind her, wagging her little tail. And can you step up on this wobbly thing? Can you step up on this? Can you go across this? Can you do this? Can you sit? Can you down? Can you come in your call? And it's like, yes. Puppy's like, absolutely. Look like a little poster child for brilliant puppies of America, right? And then the suit, he's like, "Well, it's very impressive, but of course, it has to translate. And how will she, transfer that to someone else?" And I just gave him a piece of chicken and I said, "Why don't you ask Patricia?" And he's like, "Oh, Patricia?" And she's like, "Yes." Puppy just like connect to him, like, ta-da. And he's like, "Well, let's go." She's like, "Okay, where are we going?" And he gets her and she's like, "Sure, you want me to step on this thing and sit? Can do. You want me to do this? Can do." And that's how they got the approval because it blew his mind. It's like,
Amazing.
A, didn't know puppy could do that at 7 weeks old.
Mm-hmm.
B, the coordination and the confidence she had. But C, that she was that willing to plug in to someone else. Because the other objection he has, well, she knows that employee. I'm like, that employee doesn't even work in that part of the world in this school. I just sent her to the kennels.
Come on.
She never saw that puppy before in her life.
So
So
for
it's like,
you, like
this is what's possible.
the ingredients then that you're bringing out that in a normal breeding or whelping environment, most breeders just don't even know how it honestly to produce that level. Like, what for you are those ingredients? What's the difference between a puppy who hasn't been through your program and a puppy who has, would you say?
So there was one shining moment at a guide school where they did a repeat breeding, and a repeat breeding means that you've got the same sire, same dam, right? So this is like you having a sibling, right? Same sire, same dam.
Mhm.
Um, so they had raised a litter, then brought me in as a consultant, and it was a repeat breeding. So same exact genetics, right? Same kennel configuration, but they took on board my recommendations. And the puppies were so extraordinarily different that the staff believed, oh, we have new breeding stock. We must have acquired some new bloodlines. It's
Wow.
like, no, same bloodlines you just raised 6 months ago. So I think number one is just paying attention to the good science and all of this. When I started doing this, I was just winging it because I'm like, well, that doesn't make any sense to me or it doesn't feel right. Right. So when you watch good mother animals, there's stuff they do to their babies and with their babies and for their babies. And then there was stuff that we would do to horses or dogs. And I thought, it doesn't make any sense. If we left them alone, that is not what they would do.
Mm.
Right. And everything from like my little chicks, that the moms raise. I love when a chicken shows up and she's like, you haven't seen me for a while, have you? I'm like, no, I thought maybe a fox got you. And she's like, no, actually, I was raising these 10 babies that you didn't know you wanted. I was like, well done.
Oh.
Good job. I've got one little chick out there right now, and he's got two moms. I don't know who raised him, but both of them take care of him. So
Oh.
whatever I hope it's a she, yeah, whatever that little chick needs, there's two hens responding and
Mm.
showing them, like, over here, this is how you do this thing over here. So I spent a lot of time watching animals
Mm.
raising my babies, and then I watch what we do to them. And then my sister is like, she's so passionate about babies. She loves babies like I love dogs and other animals. And I thought, why are we screwing this up so bad? That doesn't seem right. I saw
Mm.
upset puppies. I saw upset moms. I saw horses trying to throw themselves through fences because they were forcibly weaned. I'm like,
Mm.
doesn't make sense to me.
No.
And then what actually happens in the wild? And I happen to live on a farm where I could watch fawns and I could watch raccoons with their babies. And I'm like, no, there's something not right here. So I'm just going to carry on and do what I think makes sense.
Mhm.
Always asking the dog, how is this for you?
Yeah.
And the puppies, if they said this was scary, I'm like, I'm sorry, that was too much. I'll back that down.
Mm.
But mostly they're like, oh, yeah, no, we can do that too. We can also do that. We can also do that. I was like, there's no end to this. There's no end to this. What's possible? So I ignored what people told me mostly. And I just did stuff with puppies that made sense to me. Um, in terms of if this was a child, we would give them lots of different experiences. We would give them lots of connection, a lot of what is in science is called a serve and return interaction.
Mhm.
So when a baby's like, hey, baby, the correct response from a secure attachment adult is, and we
Mhm.
go back and forth like that. And so with dogs, you'd hear puppies screaming. The breeders I was hanging with, I'm like, doesn't someone want to see what's going on?
Mhm.
They're like, oh, he'll be fine. He just wants attention. There was
Yeah.
this weird undercurrent that puppies did stuff to try to get away with things or because they just want attention. I'm like, but babies do want attention.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the whole point of being a baby is to
Yeah.
get someone's attention.
It's such a strange
Hello.
concept, isn't it? Just attention seeking. You're like, yeah, they need that. That's why.
Yeah, it's kind of like they want air. That's why they're gasping. They need oxygen.
Yeah.
Also, social animals need attention and
Mhm.
interaction, and they need stuff to do. So I'm like, couldn't we give them more toys? Could we not give some more stuff? Couldn't
Mhm.
we take them someplace exciting but safe? And so I knew that safe challenge was really important.
Mm.
That if you gave a kid, there's a reason like the cardboard box is in the Toy Hall of Fame.
It's amazing. It's just
There's
the
a box
best.
kid. What are you gonna do
Uh-huh.
with it, right?
Uh-huh.
We were pretty poor, not super poor, but when I was younger. But my mom would, I don't know how she knew how to do this stuff. We had endless reams of paper to draw and paint on because she got the end rolls from the reproductive specialist she worked for.
Mm-hmm.
So his gynecological exam table was the big roll of paper.
Mm-hmm.
When it got too low, they changed it. So she would bring it home. So we were like the coolest kids on the block because we had exam room table paper.
Amazing.
We would collect like leftover house paint from the neighbors. Like, are you're not going to use that? My kids could use that. So, um, she knew if she gave us stuff, we would find something to do with it,
Mm.
whatever it was. So that may have just helped. That I'm pretty sure if you give a intelligent little being an interesting place to be and
Mm-hmm.
stuff to do, they will figure out stuff to do. So that was my goal, was how do we do that? And then Temple Grandin, the famous and wonderful, oh, great heroine of my life.
I love her a lot. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
She's
she's
one of my
amazing.
heroes. Like, I don't think I wouldn't have become an animal behaviorist had I not seen her. I think it was a film that came out when I was just young, and I was like, oh my gosh, what an amazing way of changing the world, and also and challenging it in the same way that you have, Suzanne, just being
Mm.
like, yeah, it's a man's world, and you're doing this very like human centric, and actually you're not looking at what the animal needs at all. Yeah, she's one of my heroes. Sorry, carry on.
So she was talking. I didn't realize she'd been in one of my lectures at a APT conference. Good thing, because I probably would have passed out and then come to, and then wet my pants and passed out again, and then crawled away under a rock like I'm not worthy. But because I was blindly oblivious to the fact she was there, I was marching on, running my mouth, and so in her closing speech, she said, "Yes, that young woman this morning," and I'm thinking, who would that be? And my friends are like, "You." I'm like, "Oh, no one's called me a young woman in quite some time, but that's funny." Um, but she said, why that works. And she just launches into this amazing explanation of why my treat retreat program works. And she's like, and it was like someone hit me in the head with a brick. She goes, so when we look at Kent Berridge's work on the nucleus accumbens, and the nucleus accumbens does this and this and this, and it does that, and then it does this, and because that's that, and this is that. I was like, oh, that, oh,
Wow,
that's
wow.
a shiny thing. I must go and find what?
Neuroscience.
More. Yeah, I
It's
love neuroscience.
that's big.
It's all shiny
Uh-huh.
and sparkly. And so I did. I went and did a lot of reading, and I'm like, son of a gun. So the nucleus accumbens in the developing animal, it's almost like this little cigar shaped thing deep in the brain.
Mhm.
And part of it says, uh-oh, that's dangerous. So we're not going there. Like it's responsible for the fear, for risk averse, like, I don't know what that is, but I don't think I'm going to try it.
Mhm.
Other end of it is produces the, I don't know, maybe there is a pony under all this manure. Let's find out. That's always my theory. If there's manure, there must be a pony.
Uh-huh.
And how that grows up, more tipped towards willing to think like maybe that could be good, or to hell with it, I don't want to play, I'm going to be afraid of that.
Mm.
Depends on how the animal grows up. If they grow up in a safe, enriched environment, they are much more heavily tipped for life
Mm.
towards an optimistic, I don't know, let's give it a try.
Mhm.
If
Wow.
they grow up in an unenriched and or unsafe environment, which qualifies many dogs on this planet as to their puppyhood,
Mm.
they grow up more heavily tipped towards, if that is new to me, if that is novel, I say my first response is no.
Yeah.
I mean, they can't learn to interact with whatever it is or learn to cope with it or learn to live with it. But their first response, deep, deep inside their brain, is no, thank you.
Mm.
Versus the puppies that grow up in a safe and enriched environment, they're like, I don't know. Let's see. Sure. My puppies will wake up and I will have blown up like a stegosaurus, a big plastic stegosaurus rubber. It's like 3 feet tall. So they wake up and they're like, huh. So there's a stegosaurus in our world. Okay. And then they just go punch holes in them. They just bite it. They're scared. So they're like, why don't we just kill it?
Yes.
It's not fear, though. They're like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
what's this about?
We did it
So
together. Hmm.
that sets a dog down a completely different path, big time.
Mm.
So, yeah, that's the kind of thing where I thought if I give puppies stuff to do, they're like kids are given stuff to do. It doesn't have to be fancy or expensive,
No, just
but
an
it has to
environment. Mm.
meet their needs, where they're at, what floats their boat.
Mm.
And
And
then,
when you said used an interesting phrase earlier, it's like a safe exploration. Like what?
Mhm,
How would a novice breeder know the difference? Like what would you say to somebody who's like stepping into breeding and they're like, I want my puppies to be more resilient. I want to give them more to like cope with. Like what would you say is a reasonable amount of stress? I use that word sort of flexibly because stress can be anything that excites the
mhm,
body, isn't it? And just
right.
lots of smells can be, physically stressful. What would you say is a safe setup for a puppy versus an unsafe setup?
So I think if you use common sense as a good starting point, number one, let's say there was one school I worked for, and one of their well-meaning volunteers had built this little staircase. Because I'm like, puppies can learn to do stairs. They have to be age appropriate stairs, right?
Mhm.
And so what they built was this steep little staircase, which would have worked really nicely for like a 3-year-old toddler with little tiny feet.
Mm.
It did not work well for the long bodies of puppies, right? Because going up and down stairs is a controlled fall. So I'm always asking if they get in trouble, because they're going to make mistakes. If they fall off it, are they going to get hurt?
Mm.
And so my rule of thumb is it's never more than the puppy's height, or maybe 1.5 times as long as there's a lot of padded stuff. The same way we take kids to a playground. And it's like, so here's the monkey bars. The monkey bars are set over a rock pit with broken glass. You're like,
Mm.
I would just as soon skip that for my child. Thank you very much. I guess he'll just be a puny weakling when he grows up. But no, so, having some sense about it. But if you look at, I don't know about you when you grew up, but when I grew up, I look back on like the slides, they weren't enclosed. It was a piece of metal that
Yeah,
was so hot in the sun. Like if
yeah.
you didn't have your shorts just right, you were gonna scorch yourself and end up looking like a toasted sausage at the other end. And it was like 10 feet high
Mm.
with this little rickety thing. And it's like we did it all the time. And I cannot recall anyone ever falling off it,
No.
right? But I can recall a lot of people panicking and then going back down. So it has to be age appropriate challenges. And that means with puppies, they're what's a challenge to a 5-day-old puppy might be half of a pool noodle. We're talking shepherd sized puppies. Half a pool noodle that's on good footing, that
Mhm.
as they're trying to get to mom, they've got this little speed bump,
Mm.
which is about the same size as their sibling.
Mm.
They already know how to crawl over stuff. If they have siblings, they're doing it all the time.
Yeah.
I've just added more speed bumps. So they're like, I want a drink. I got to get there and I got to work it. And so they got to work their little butts to get there. But it's solvable and it's solvable fast. If I give them something that's slippery or a strange surface, it's just 1 or 2 puppy body lengths.
Mm.
They're like, what the heck? And then they're off it. They've solved it
I love
or it's
that.
gone away. So knowing the right amount of stress. And so people mean well, they're like, I want my puppies not to worry about sound. So I'm going to play loud music all the time. They'll get used to it. You actually can go the other way and sensitize them.
Mm.
So I once asked a veterinary neurologist, like, how do you know how much stress is too much? And he gives me this very academic answer. It's like, well, stress is, when you exceed the organism's capacity, to absorb and, resolve. And I'm like, yeah, but what does that look like? He
Hmm.
goes, uh, I'm like, at what age is that too much? Like, at what age is that too loud, too high, too fast? And he's like, well, I'm like, "Ah, this is so disappointing.
Hmm.
You're a veterinary neurologist. I want answers about puppy neurology. And he couldn't answer it. I was like, so we're just going to fly by the seat of my pants now. Okay. we're going to
That's
do.
really hard, isn't it? Because actually, when you say ask the dog, like, what does that actually look like? I can say, are you having fun? I'm holding loads of food in front of your face, and I've got something that you really want. And it looks like you're really into what I'm doing with you in terms of training. But are you actually having fun? Or am I stressing you right out because you wanted that biscuit 10 minutes ago? You know, like,
Mhm.
how have you got to that stage? I mean, you've seen it's at time, I know, and observing a lot of dogs, but how did you work that out, Suzanne? Like, what could we be looking for if we were like, actually, that was 6 pool noodles too many and that dog was a bit distressed? What would that like present as
Well,
for you?
the nice thing about puppies is they have a limited capacity for problem solving, just like babies.
Mm,
If you make it too hard, they will get distressed or they will give up.
mm, okay.
So we'll start with that. So the puppy that's, um, you know, and I don't know if you've ever raised a litter puppy, but there's always two of these puppies in every litter. One is what we call wrong way Corrigan, which I think is from World War II, where some Air Force pilot was flying the wrong way always. So you'll get the puppy who is headed completely away from his mother, and then is just crying pitifully that I've been abandoned. You know, I'm gonna die here alone on the desert island. I'm gonna starve, and there's no milk, and there's. It's like, dude, go the other way. And sometimes the young moms will get up like, I'm still here. The experienced moms are like, you're not going to get to go very far. Keep going east far enough. You will have gotten back to your starting point. So they just watch them with some concern. And then there's the ones who like try to squash between their mother and the wall, and they're like, I want milk, but they're squishing behind her. And so they put themselves in these situations where they're just like, this is too tight, and so there's a different cry they have. They are just mad.
Mm,
Work, and I'm going this way. To be fair, at a certain age, they can't back up. So once they've committed to that parking spot, they're kind of out of luck. Forward is all they get. And there's ones that are like, I will make this work. And it's like, okay, easy there. So I have to be careful. Those puppies will not give up and might actually push too hard.
mhm,
So what's the age? So I think more like if this was a human child, if you said, hey, would you like to learn how to play checkers, let's say, and you as a little kid, you're like, no, right? No is a complete sentence. It is a
mhm,
complete sentence when a human says it. It is a complete sentence when any animal says it. If the next thing we say is yes, but I have candy, like would if you're that mom, you're like, no, no, she said she didn't want to learn to do that right now.
mhm,
Right? So how about we just let her watch and we'll play? How about, we ask another time? How about we go get her brother? But I'll pay you. I know you said you didn't want to or this was too scary, but I've got candy. So whenever someone's offering a dog food, this is what I hear in my head, but I've got candy. I've got money. How many zeros do you want on that check? Like, whoa, 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 whoa. Why are we overriding the no? I'm more interested in finding out why don't you want to?
mhm,
It's like, because that's too close to that thing that scares me. How about if we move the chessboard over here? It's like, yes, I would like that much better. Or let's do it in your room. Or how about we go get your mom? Or how
mm,
about, right? There's a different quality to can I coerce you?
mm,
So as soon as I have to bring food out to convince a puppy to do something that he can work out by himself, right? I know I've got something wrong there. So when
interesting.
people sometimes have puppy parties, they're like, everybody gets cheese, everybody teaches them how to go through tunnels.
Yep.
I don't know how to tell you this, but if you put a tunnel in the puppy's pen and you just leave them be,
Yeah.
puppies are like, well, what the
Oh.
hell is this?
Oh.
Oh, like, it's what they do. They have question marks in their head. They just
Yeah.
run around all day going, huh, what is that? Huh, what is that? And sometimes they're like, I'm not going in there. But then they see their brother go in there. At one puppy, we timed it. I put the tunnel down. They were at the age where I was going to add a tunnel. And literally, I put it down. I sat back. I turned on my phone. And she's like, oh, cool. Like she stuck her head in, and then she just calmly climbed through the whole thing, turned around in the tunnel, went back the other way.
Amazing.
All right, I got this mastered. Done and dusted. All right then. Note to self. Very, very smart puppy. And her brother watched. Like, I don't know. Oh, you came out alive. Okay. And then pretty soon they're using it as a barking chamber where they come in from each end and they scream at each other. They're metal tubes. It's stovepipe. So there's metal tubing and they're just yelling at each other like ha ha ha. And then someone else will be on the top, like, hanging 10 and surfing like dee dee dee. You can hear like the Hawaiian music playing. It's pretty cool. And that involved nothing, no human input needed.
It's amazing.
None.
So for you, it's about setting the environment up in such a way that the dogs and the puppies are exploring it well. You're not using food with early learning puppies. What if you were going to give your top 3 tips to a new breeder who's obviously going to come and buy your course, which is, I think, really important and something that I think all breeders should be doing, is this enriched puppy protocol. But if you were going to give them like the top 3 to look at their setup right now and they're like, I haven't got time, I've already done it, that my puppy's 2 weeks old, Suzanne, what am I going to do? Like, I haven't got time to learn it. What would you say to them to
They're 2
immediately
weeks old.
improve
You're fine.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that we start with making sure they have good footing always, right? Slipping and sliding has multiple implications, and including their hip health and skeletal well-being. Number 2, variety and complexity, and then the third is by 6 weeks, start to help them be individuals. So one-on-one time every bloody day from 6 weeks until you place them. If you just do those 3 things, and that's sometimes when I'm brought in as a consultant, they're like, well, these puppies are 4 weeks old. Like, we've missed that period. I'm like, that's fine. Start where you are and let's go forward. Because those will give you the biggest bang for the buck. So really good footing, complexity and variety that's all safe in their environment. And then the individualization is so crucial. And it's crucial for the puppy's well-being and development, but also for you to really know who they are as an individual. It just always seemed heartless. And we were talking about this yesterday with a different podcast, that we take puppies, and traditionally, by the time you get them, they probably have not been for a car ride. They've not crate trained. Yep. They don't know about that. They've not really been away from their litter. If they did stuff, they did it as a little group. We took them out in the yard, or we took them here or there. So we've just like ripped them. You can almost hear the sound of Velcro, right? It's just like, oh. And they have no reference point. They have no reference library. So I want to send puppies out with a good reference library. The same way you want to send a kid to his first day at school, and he knows what his colors are. He knows stuff like his name, and he knows some basic skills. But those are the 3 basics. And you can start really simply. One guide school they had, it was dirt and gravel at the back of their kennels was this little unused patch. They were not going to be able to dedicate new rooms or build new buildings. They really had a really tight footprint. And we went through their storage shed. I'm like, okay, pull that out, pull that out, pull that out. Okay, those puppies are, that'll give them the skateboard. And let's get that little bit of lattice work that's plaster. We're just gonna lay that on the ground. And there's a really ugly little doll. They can have that. And there's a Santa Claus. We don't know why, but there you go. Add him. And we took a plastic garbage can. We cut the bottom out and taped it so it was safe. Like, look, you guys have a tunnel. And the puppies were like, we have a tunnel. They didn't say, we don't have one of the fancy, colorful ones. It's official. Like the agility puppies would laugh at this. No, the puppies are like, we have a tunnel and it rolls. If you go through it really fast, you can like knock your brother out of the way. One puppy, we have it on video somewhere. He literally comes down this little ramp and then he walks over to the skateboard, which he has never seen before. And he gets on it and he just proceeds to skate past. And the director of the program's like, holy shit, like he's skateboarding. I'm like, I tell you, if you just give them the stuff, they will do stuff with it. They just will. So yeah, you can get more detailed. But if you think about, all right, how am I going to set this up today? am I going to give them different surfaces? Everyone becomes a fan of the dollar store. Do you have dollar stores?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What do you
Pound
call them?
stretcher, we call it pound
Pound
land.
stretcher? You go in there, you're like, ooh, the little sticky rubbery thing that goes in the bottom of a sink so you don't bang up your china. Oh, you turn that over and it's like weird little nubbies for puppies to step on.
Yeah,
You can get so much puppy raising crap
I love
at
it.
the dollar stores. Recycling, we take pillowcases and we stuff it full of just newspaper or those stupid dang plastic things that come packed with everything.
Hmm.
You just stick it in there, tie a knot in it, and throw it in.
And you
They
don't
can't get hurt
stress
under
that they're
it.
going to eat everything because puppies explore things with their mouths, huh? It's one of those things. They're going to
And
chew
they're
it.
not that strong. You're not sending it in with like Siberian tiger puppies, you
Yeah.
know. So they have this lightweight thing that they can drag around at the
Mhm.
age when they start to be able to drag things. When they squash on it, it moves, it's unstable, it makes noise, they can hide under it. And that's just stuff you're gonna throw out anyway. Wash the
Mhm.
pillowcase, ditch the filling, good old cardboard boxes with some holes put in it. Puppies are like, yeah, now I have a castle to defend. I bought some, it's meant for kids, and it's like a little castle, or maybe this was the bouncy seat, you put a kid in, and
Mhm.
it's got like a little tray, and I don't know what you do. I don't know about children, so whatever you're supposed to do. Anyway, I see it at the curb, and I pull over, and I was like,
Mhm.
could I buy that? And the woman's like, but it's broken. I'm like, yeah, but could I give you $5 for it? She must have thought I was utterly mad. She's like, but it doesn't, it's broken. I'm like, yes, but it's perfect. She's like, all righty.
Okay. Yeah.
But our puppies love it because they can get in it. It wobbles. It
Yeah.
spins a bit if they hit it at the right speed. It's perfectly safe. So we have the weirdest collection of crap that's all about puppies. And
So
then
great though, so great, and builds their tiny little brains. That was my favorite part of running puppy classes, was that first session, because we would just do proprioception mania, which is arguably far too much for puppies who are coming into a session. But equally, I was like, I really need to show these owners like what is possible and these different environments that these puppies can explore. And similarly, when we did it on Puppy School on Channel 4, they had lots and lots of really great demos that you saw on the TV. But my favorite part was that and you never saw this on the telly, but we had this amazing like obstacle course that we set up for these puppies of loads of different sights and sounds and things that they could navigate with their owner. And I just go into dog geek mode and I'm like, let's watch them. Like, you go out as a
exactly.
team together, like, and just navigate these things. And everyone's like, so hold on, is it a race? And I'm like, no, 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 just watch. And they're like, but where's the jeopardy? I'm like, just look at the dog and its person navigating this stuff. And what can we learn about that personality? And it all got cut because they were like, there's no, like, it needs to be a race. And I was like, okay.
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 And this is why I'm never going to be on TV. I'm
That's
like, you're
fine.
missing the
Everything.
whole
Yeah.
point. Well,
The
you saw the
show.
video. You saw
Uh-huh.
the video I showed at ABK
Hmm.
at the conference, right? And so that was just 24-day-old puppies in a very complex environment. They could do all kinds of stuff. Like they could, navigate so their one leg was in this plane and this one was on a wobbly thing, and that one they were stepping up so they could get to their mom. And they look like little, geniuses. And, as you said, you can watch them like learn. So when they're little babies, sometimes you'll have like the little, class valedictorian of the litter who's like, I already figured this out. And it's like, well, good for you. And then his sister will be like, I don't think I can do that. And then the next morning, she's like, oh, yeah, I figured that out last night. I've seen them not be able to do something in the morning.
Hmm.
And then just a bit after dinner time, they're like, oh, yeah, I figured that out today.
Yeah.
And I mean, they are developing so fast. So imagine if you have a baby and I'm like, oh, Miss Malloy, I've got a brand new baby for you, and we'll be back in 63 days. And so she should be able to run, walk, back up, carry things, have civil conversations with things her own age, remember to respect her elders, toilet herself, or at least indicate when she can. She should know her colors, her names, be able to climb and jump and run. So we'll be back in 63 days. You're like, what the hell? What? What? 63 days? You mean 63 years? It's like, oh, yes. And she won't be able to hear or really see well for the first 3 weeks. So 21 of those really aren't all that productive, but she'll be working on developing her brain. That is what puppies do. So by the time they are 9 weeks old, they're developmentally the equivalent of a 4 or 5 year old kid
Come on.
in terms of their coordination, their mental capacities, their neurology. It's shocking.
It's so fast, isn't it?
And it's frightening because you're like, oh, well, I'm not going to do anything with the litter today. I'm too busy. It's like, well, if you say that with a kid, right?
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah.
me doesn't feel good today. So I'll read to you and then we're just going to do something quiet. If you do that with a kid for a couple of days, you have not lost a big chunk of developmental time.
Yeah.
If you miss a day in the life of a puppy, I've had people where I gave them a 63-day calendar. Is like, you just keep crossing that off because I want you to cross it off every night and make sure that you are aware, what did you trade this puppy's day for? What does he know that he did not know this morning?
Come on.
That's a huge responsibility. Like it is, but it's what sets the whole dog up for the entire trajectory of his adult life.
And this is why I love you so much, Suzanne, because like everything that I was, I mean, I was quite I'm a high achiever. I like to get things done, right? I like to just change the world. Let's let that be the bar. And so for my puppy owners, because I already knew that I didn't know what I needed to know before the puppy got to them, but I knew that from the second that they got them, we have 8 to 16 weeks to teach a puppy everything it needs to know to be a fully functioning adult dog. And I was like, we've got no time, guys. And so the same thing, I would do that just after they came to me and I'm like, we have this program. I hope you've taken time off work. I hope that you are not expecting to go back to work in the next week because you've got to fit in all of these social activities and your puppy's going to concentrate really for about 20, 25 minutes and then need a big sleep. And you can only eat a certain amount of food per day. So if you're going to introduce them to new and strange things and food needs to be around to make it, classically conditioned to enjoy that environment, then you have to be really thoughtful about that. So I would give my owners these programs, and they'd be like, oh my gosh, this is a lot. And I'm like, it is a lot, but it's now or never. You're never going to get this time back. And I would argue with vet after vet after vet that please God stop keeping my puppies inside. Like, you are ruining these dogs for life. Like, we need to just cut this vaccination period out somehow or negotiate for it in some ways because you're really massively affecting these dogs. So when I came across you and all that you're doing, like before the puppy even gets to me as a trainer or the owner, and I'm like, yes, yes, this makes so much sense. And I wonder actually whether trainers and owners might be less stressed if they actually got the puppy that had that level of training before it's come anywhere near them, that had that level of confidence building in.
So I will tell you that the people that get puppies from me, that get some of my shepherd puppies, they're just blown away because they're used to puppies that they're like, what if, so if he gets scared when I have him in the car, I'm like, he's not going to be scared in the car. He's been in the car since he was 4 weeks old. He knows how to go for rides. He's actually been, classically conditioned. We take them for group walks or group activities. And then when they're already thinking they're sleepy and dozy, we put them in a nice warm car in a crate and they're just like, right? So they become the world's best travelers as a rule.
Come on.
But I will say, if they came to your class, you're like, well, I don't have a program for you because you already know this.
Yes, I love that.
They're like, someone's like, do you want to demonstrate how to step up on this little platform? And our puppies are like, really?
Yeah. Test me.
I grew up with Suzanne. It's also hard to get their ears up for photos because they've heard every noise a human can make and most animal sounds coming out of me. So getting photos out of them is kind of hard sometimes. But so you think about it as the reference library. So you think about if you have a kid, a human kid, before you send them to school, to nursery school or kindergarten, imagine that your kid walked in, it's like, well, no one ever read to me. I don't know the names of any colors. I don't know the names of any animals. It's like, oh boy,
Mm,
right? And if you're a teacher who understands developmental neurology, you're like, oh, we've got developmental windows closing.
yep.
They know from the Romanian orphans when that was a thing, and people would adopt them, but they had such deficits.
Mm,
It didn't matter that you loved them and
yep.
brought them into a really safe and wonderful home. It was too late in terms of their brain,
Mm,
right? So at the time when the brain's like, hey, what do we need to know? It's like, I don't know. There's nothing there. So a good rule of thumb is when you look at, you go to look at puppies, I want you to look at the environment and think, if this was a nursery school, would I put my niece or my child or my grandkid in this and think, that is going to make for a really great day for them? That
mm,
is going to make wow, I can really see they're helping those kids learn and explore the world. And sometimes you're like, well, it's very clean,
mm,
right? And a lot of breeders are very good at keeping their puppies clean. It's neat and it photographs beautifully.
yep.
I always think it should be like Sesame Street ran into a clown car and there was a massive explosion of toys and color and God knows what is that? Puppy's like, it's wonderful. Did you ever try one of these? It's exactly what they need to know. It's like that looks like fun. Like it should be colorful and textures and stuff, and
Hmm.
the puppies should be active. And that was one of the things that tipped the first the guide school that I worked with was they kept saying, yes, but you have shepherds. Like
Right.
this is going to be
Hmm.
a very old argument, right?
Hmm.
I've raised many litters of many different breeds, everything from dachshunds to, lurchers. And I'm like, it's not because I have shepherds. It's because I give them an environment that is complex and they have space.
Mm,
So the breeding director had the sense. She's like, fine, with this litter of Labradors, how much space would you give them? And we literally measured it out. And I said, minimum this much for this age puppy, this many puppies. So she did that. And what else would you put in there? I'm like, I put this and this and this and this. She's like, fine. And then she set up a camera and she let it run for 24 hours. And they went from we get up, we play a little bit, we poo, we pee, we eat, we play a little more, we go back to sleep. That was what they did. Because my puppies, they're up for like an hour and a half, 2 hours and playing hard, and then they crash hard. And then they.
hmm.
So when they got space and complexity and stuff to do, guess what the Labradors did?
Hmm.
And I'm like,
Come
it's
on.
not because I have shepherds. It's because I have a friend who raises low chen. So these are wonderful little toys. So she's showing me this. She's like, oh, normally they'll stay in there till they're about 6 weeks old. And I started laughing. I'm like, so if you're going to raise them this way, you need to get your butt down to the shop. And do you have more X pens? Do you have more fencing?
Hmm.
Because they're going to need space. And she goes,
Yep.
no, no, these are toy dogs. And I'm like, by 16 days, those puppies were like, there's a bigger world out there, and I think we shall figure out how to adventure into it. She's like, oh my God, you were right. And so it was a great joy to see these little tiny toy puppies. Like she's like, I can't even see where they are across the garden. They're
Wow.
like in the sweet pea vines, and you call this little head pops up, like, come in. She's like, and so they were just absolutely
Wow.
marvelous.
Wow.
And it
Wow.
wasn't because they were this breed or that breed. It
Mm.
was because they had the space.
Come
So
on.
when people say, like, how much space should they have? They should have enough space to gallop. If they can't gallop, they don't have enough space.
Hmm.
Because galloping is what puppies do. They do all
Gosh.
kinds of stuff, but then they go zoomies. And they need to go zoomies to learn how to control their body and how to play games. So
It's just the same. It's the same as children. It's the same. They really do. They need the right environment to be stimulated to grow beautiful and amazing and complicated brains that can deal with difficult challenges. Oh my gosh, Suzanne, I thank you so much. This has been like mind blowing. I'm sure I know already for me and for everybody that's been listening. We have been, yeah, just really enriched by all of your experience and knowledge. How can we find out more about understanding more about puppies with you? What would we need to do? Where would we go?
So we have the whole Enriched Puppy Protocol. That's an online course that we offer, and that takes you literally day by day what you're going to do as a breeder or someone who's volunteering. Yesterday, I just spoke with Tom Candy about this. It's like, so how do we take puppies that are in shelters? There's no reason. There's nothing that stops you from doing this. It's an investment of time, and it takes some effort, and it probably involves a fair amount of laundry. Keeping happy puppies requires a lot of stuff and puppies,
Yeah.
and laundry. So that you can find at my website, SuzanneClothier.com. There's a whole webinar that you can also just get into that and say, let me learn a little bit more about this before I commit to the whole program, or I don't want to do a whole program. If you are a shelter or rescue, then we offer that Enriched Puppy Protocol at half price.
Amazing.
So let us know, and we'll make sure you get that discount because we want people to know about this. And this is not you must do all of these things or your puppies will fail. It's life. What are the resources you have, right? How do we make the most out of the time you have? So, for example, we run a life like everybody else's, stuff happens. And you're like, and still the puppies need what they need.
Yep.
Remember one winter night, I was leaving my friend's house. I was helping him raise a litter. And I was like, so you did this already, right? I forgot who was sick at home. I had some sick horse or something. So I said, you did the individual one-on-one stuff today. He's like, no, it was just too cold. And so the wrath of Zool came down on his head. I'm like, you're kidding me, right? You have a big house.
Yep.
Seriously? There was 9 puppies. I'm like, alrighty. So I took my coat off and I kind of wandered around his house. I'm like, I need to do something with each puppy one-on-one that's different, that's novel. So I took an empty dog food bag and I folded it back so it had like a cuff so it would kind of stay open. Took a puppy, went into his living room where the puppies hadn't spent a lot of time. I'm like, you know what game we're going to play today? We're going to play closed tunnel. God only knows what the treats are. And I just jumped some treats and I just threw some treats in there. And it was entertaining as hell. Some puppies are like, yeah, down the hole we go. They just buried themselves in the bag. Some are like, I don't know about that. Let me think. Can I just squash it and get to it? And that's all it took was that 10, 15 minutes per puppy. So I didn't go to sleep for a while, but I really meant it. But there's ways to work around it. And you do the best you can. And every time you read a letter, you get smarter. I didn't start out with this insane program like, ta-da. It's like this grew, but understanding complexity and variety, you keep changing things. You'll see on the internet people that are running puppies through like an obstacle course around a pen. They are not thoughtful. They are not coordinated. They're hysterical. And they're doing the same thing over and over again. So rituals and patterns do not help brains. They don't help brains. So it's like just rearrange the stuff, move that over there, put this over there, add this, change that, make this a little bigger. Pots and pans. We were redoing our kitchen once, and the puppies had access to all the kitchen utensils. So I look up and like, who's got the spatula, and who's run off with the wooden spoons, and who's got the whisk and is playing tug of war, who's been doing the sieve, and it was just like, oh. Yeah, I didn't realize I could do that. One of the best puppy toys is just metal measuring spoons. Massively entertaining to puppies. We often send puppies home with their own set of measuring spoons because they love them so much. Plastic does not have the same effect, but
it's amazing.
Yeah, it's just entertaining what you can do even with recycling. So SuzanneClothier.com and you will get led to all of this stuff.
Thank you, Suzanne. You are just incredible. I wonder how much of this now like leads into temperament, and I'd love to pick your brains about that. So maybe we could get you back for a part 2 and talk about temperament and what that looks like in terms of personalities and dogs.
Absolutely. My other great passion, the individual dog.
That's it. It's fascinating.
Thank you
Suzanne,
so much.
thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sitting and talking to us, and we'll see you again soon.
All right. Thanks.
And that's all for another episode of The Future of Dogs. Big thanks to our sponsor, Amplified Behaviour. Your host and producer is Hannah Malloy. Technical direction, audio and video producer is Mark Goslett. And the graphic designer is James Whipps.